does Mike Krieger hire? Benefits and unique culture created at Instagram makes a dream place to work. In this episode, we will demonstrate how Mike Krieger established a robust framework for continual development and innovation. For more videos, please subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon for notifications. Mike Krieger's background. Mike Krieger is an American entrepreneur and software engineer of Brazilian ancestry who co-founded Instagram in mid-2010 with Kevin Systrom. They co-designed and built the application, and subsequently Mark grew the Instagram engineering team to 450 employees, which is now a part of Facebook. Mark announced his departure from Instagram in 2012. Mike Krieger earned bachelor's degree in symbolic systems from Stanford University, concentration in human-computer interaction. He had worked for Meebo as a user experience designer and front-end programmer before launching Instagram. His views may assist startups in transitioning from an inexperienced team to a more mature one. Build a team that will match your needs.
Recruiting is not like you flip a switch and all these talented engineers are at your door. You really have to work for it, even when you're growing. People are always surprised that it was hard for us to hire in the early days, but people have jobs that they don't want to leave necessarily. So to get them excited about your company takes a while.
As with any other job, you should gather the necessary material and ensure that you have enough quantity before beginning. Concentration, enthusiasm, and problem-solving ability are critical components for startups. Krieger said that specialist engineers are not required at this stage, but rather a few generalists. Generalists succeed in the early stage when talents and characteristics might be important in propelling your company to the next step. Yak shaving. Yak shaving is a common form of leadership expression. Krieger describes what he knows about when to shave the yak, which is critical at the startup's basic stage. At times, programming entails resolving intricate technological challenges, he explains. However, you often wind up with lengthy list of actions required to get your destinations, such as I need to get this iPhone app operating on my device, which means I need to produce this provisioning profile, which means I need to sign up for this account, and so on and so forth. Finally, to him, you are shaving a yak. To carry out the first action, you are so far from it. Aim for action. The second step is to aim for action. It is vital to understand your basic, secondary, and most important stages. You must have an effective recording system that allows you to expand your objectives. Although this system does not have to be very sophisticated or extremely thorough, it is necessary. During Instagram formative years, Krieger and his team kept track of these activities in a thematically structured rolling Google Doc.
Being crystal clear about what problem you're trying to solve for people. You have to be really laser focused on understanding what problem you're solving for people. For Instagram, it was people want to connect, they want to share, but there's no real good way of doing that on mobile phones. So let's make that an amazing experience.
Recruiting enthusiasts and versatile generalists. Startups have a significant edge in terms of thinking and hiring unconventionally. When discussing Shane Sweeney, Krieger's co-founder, Kevin Systrom's first technical recruit, he said, Shane exemplified hiring advantages. He never completed his college education. He has a self-taught coder in every way. They met when they were incubated at Dogpatch Lab on Pier 38, when he shared a workspace with him. However, he optimized the startup culture of I have an idea and will do everything it takes to make it a reality.
Instagram came out of wanting to be my own boss. I was like, you know what? I want to work for myself. I want to work on ideas. I really hope I'm going to make money.
recognizing the persistence and the need for specialization. After Facebook purchased Instagram in 2012, Krieger's and System's 13-person startup could recruit independently and via Facebook's bootcamp. As demand for expansion and features increased, the organization saw the need to specialize. They sought to hire individuals with certain skills, notably professional iOS and Android developers, who could improve the product to new heights. It's a stage that every business goes through. Among the indicators that you should go in this approach are the following. You are creating something beyond the platform capabilities on which you are working. And the approach is you expand on new markets that need fine-tuned programming. In the case of Instagram, this meant making video work in developing areas. Your code base has grown and requires technical leaders to oversee the future expansion. What does Mike Krieger look for in candidates? It's not to say that Mike Krieger examines these abilities solely. However, these are fundamental characteristics that Mike Krieger evaluates regardless of his recruiting function. Collaboration, adaptability to new situations, interaction, motivation oneself, cultural capability. What's like to work for Mike Krieger? The following principles guide Mike Krieger's approach to work. Number one is to leverage prior experience and understanding. Construct a hypothesis about how you are distinct. Never create without sketching. Acquire knowledge in week-long increments. Demonstrate competence in social situations. Recognize when it's time to pivot. Social prototyping techniques from the Wizards of Oz. Establish and maintain constant communication with your audience. How does Instagram motivate its employees? A few of the top approaches Instagram has found to motivate employees are as follows. Number one, appeal to a personal objective. Try to understand what motivates each person on your team so you can tailor your approach accordingly. For instance, if you know that one of your workers is vying for a certain promotion, explain how their efforts on the next assignment will help convince a superior of their talents. Number two, induce movement in them. Encourage your staff to stand and exercise regularly. Depending on the conditions, it may include directing staff in very engaging routine, strolling around the block, or just stretching in some cases. Physical exercise can elevate stress and revive your staff. This is particularly beneficial late in the day or after lunch when individuals are most sleepy. Compel them to make a tiny commitment. Individuals are sometimes averse to labor if they are overwhelmed by the magnitude or scope of work. You might combat this in your job by committing to working on a large assignment for just 5 minutes. Once you begin, it will be much simpler to continue. It is something you can do for your workers by requiring them to commit to something little, such as merely beginning a task. Number 4, plan enjoyable activity together. Additionally, you may alleviate tension and inspire motivation by engaging in entertaining activities with your colleagues. For instance, you may engage in a brief game of cards in the break room or watch a humorous movie together. It is a time to connect and lighten the atmosphere. Number 6, actively listen to what they have to say. One of the most powerful tools is active listening to inspire others. If you know that your employees are unsatisfied with their work, you should practice active listening regularly. See if there is anything you can do to assist their situation. Even simply listening to their grievance might be a long way in this circumstance when it comes to encouraging them. Number 7, give employees a fresh start. It is difficult to recover after a long day of low motivation or severe hurdles. Thus, consider providing staff with a new beginning. Allow them to restart a new project or leave the workplace for some time and return rejuvenated. Now, how does Instagram reward its employees? The following are some of the ways Instagram compensates its staff. One of the things they do best is to put 100 messages, particularly one written by the boss, may go a long way. It's free if you exclude the cost of paper and ink, and cost you just time. 100 message does a couple of things well. It recognizes the person, demonstrates your concern, and indicates that you are ready to make time for them. The other motivator, yes, it's money. Money is wonderful and everyone loves it. However, it's not necessarily the most effective incentive. At the very least, not for sustained motivation. There is, however, one exception. That is, a special New Year bonus can come a long way. Receiving appreciation for your labor in the form of a bonus or anything you have achieved is much more validating than being given money. It would be acceptable to most people since they believe they earned it. The bonus would be welcomed, especially when there are several costs during that time of the year. Take some time off. A week or two off for the new year is also an efficient approach to thank top performers. Most individuals would like it if their annual vacation could be used to see relatives or travel time for a few days. Given that the employer is almost certainly taking some time off, it's great to provide certain workers the same privilege. Now, let's talk about Instagram employee benefits. The following is the list of common Instagram employee benefits. Insurance on life. One of them is life insurance. Instagram provides free life insurance in the amount of the employee's income. If the price tag seems too high for you, you may offer to pay for a portion of the coverage and compel employees to contribute the remainder if they desire to do so. Insurance for dental care. Dental care insurance is another often offered employee benefit, but it is not as relevant as health insurance. Fortunately, you and your employees will spend significantly less money on dental care than medical care. Paid time off and sick leave. It is almost unheard of for a firm not to include any paid time off PTO in its employee benefit package. 2 weeks, about 10 working days, is a standard period for full-time employees. Some employers enable employees to accumulate more PTO if they remain with the firm for an extended time, for example, additional week after 5 years. Some businesses consolidate their PTO into a single pool, while others maintain it distinct into vacation, sick leave, and personal time off. Both approaches to organizing these perks have their advantages and disadvantages, and you must determine which makes the most sense for your organization. Paid vacations. Different firms have their own paid vacation policies. Labor Day and Memorial Day are generally acknowledged as days off, but working days after that are at Instagram's discretion. Paid leave for medical treatment. It includes maternity leave, time off for workers recovering from surgery, a time off to care for an ill family member. While the FMLA compels you to maintain the employee's employment available for 12 weeks, it does not require you to compensate them for that time away. According to doctors, women should take at least 6 weeks of maternity leave after the birth of their child, and most of businesses follow this suggestion.
We had a weekly, we started this when we were literally in the 181 South Park and then brought it in as we scaled, which was every Friday we got together with the whole company. Ours was like a Friday morning, like donuts and coffee, because Zuck did his 4 p.m. happy hour and we obviously did not want to overlap. People could go to both. And also getting in front of your whole team every single week and having them ask you hard questions. They weren't always hard, but sometimes we get hard questions. Was really good training for when, Mark, when he got back from the congressional hearings and people were like, you did an amazing job. He's like, well, I get to take hard questions every week. And it's actually extremely good training for that. So I think just growing the company itself was helpful in developing the skills to be able to represent the company externally. That's probably the thing I became the most comfortable with, other than management. I literally had not managed a single, I always joked with our team, I was like, look, we're gonna make some mistakes because every person we hire is by default the biggest team I've ever managed. And you have to be humble and say I learning and I'm gonna make some mistakes, and like that's probably like the thing I had the least idea of how to do. Like the first time you have to let somebody go, like how do you convince an incredible person to join your team when they have like an offer somewhere else that's like 50% greater, or like skills. But I think core personality is hard to change. Like it probably gets expressed at more extremes as things scale, but probably harder to change.
The unique culture at Instagram. Number one, a safe and healthy work environment. Prioritize work-life balance. This is the bone of so much of contemporary workplaces in order for them to keep and retain their employees. Allowing for unforeseen doctor's visits, childcare demands, and family time greatly benefits workers' happiness, health, and productivity. Number two, collaborate and communicate. For example, booking rooms directly from a smartphone or digital display directly outside the meeting space, manage guest registration, and even secure resources and catering. Now that you understand how the workplace has evolved significantly in terms of technology and culture at Instagram, we hope this will help you to establish competitive contemporary work environment for your employees. That's all for today's episode. Links to everything will be in the description below. If you like our content, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. It will notify you about our new content that we share with you every week. This will help us to produce great content for our professional audience. Let us know if there is something that you would like us to discuss in future episodes. Please click the link in the show notes and you can address your questions directly to me. Thank you for listening, and I will see you in the next episode.